Okay, then there are a few premises for the dealer. Are there any questions about the end game situation for the non-dealer? Person is counting first. Oh, I did want to mention, well, I'll mention that at the end of this next section. I pretty much covered these here. Lead a card smaller than a 5. Dump the dangerous lone card. Don't play hunches. This person last week that led the 6 and got beat, they was playing a hunch. They said, well, I had this small card, but I thought they'd probably hold small cards, so it'd probably be safer to play a 6 or a 9. No. Just play the numbers. Forget the hunches. The numbers in the game will win a lot more for you than the hunches. Now there is something to be said. If you know where there's 3 6s and a 9 or 3 9s and a 6, then leading from that grouping of cards is actually safer than just dropping one small card out there. But you need to know where there's a bunch of those kinds of cards. No, you don't, not 2 of them, at least 3 or more. You know where 3 or more of them are. You got 2 or 3 in your hand and you threw one in the crib. Then that makes the numbers in favor of leading from the 6s and 9s rather than the 1, 2, or 3 if you happen to have it. But it does only when you know where there's a bunch of them. Okay, now for the dealer. We've kind of worked the non-dealer over pretty well. Most people who deal have some idea that 3 or 4 pegs is what they can usually expect. They're going to keep pegging cards, most. Now, if you don't have pegging cards, let's say you've got a 1, 2, 7, and a pair of kings. That's 5 cards. Maybe the other one's a queen. 1, 2, 7, king, king, queen. Pretty lousy, but not unusual down there. In that case, because it doesn't look like you can peg 4 points with a 1, 2, and a 7, keep the big pair. Because by playing with the 7 and one of the small cards, you just might get the 2 kings in back to back for 3 pegs. So if you don't have better peggers, keep a large pair. The dealer often will get a large pair in for back to back for 2 and a go is 3. So hopefully you get better pegging cards than that, but if you don't panic. Keep a large pair. Now the dealer is guaranteed 1 peg. I'm surprised how many people have played this game for a long time that have not yet figured that out. Unless the dealer falls off his chair in a coma, or he throws 4 cards to the crib and only plays 2, he's guaranteed 1 peg. It doesn't make any difference whether he looks at them or just throws them down. If he needs 1 peg, he's going to get 1 peg. It don't make any difference if he looks at the cards or not. He can turn them face down and just throw them out as you play. And at one point, you'll say go, or the dealer will have the final card. That's it. That's how it works. The dealer is guaranteed 1, no matter how foolish he keeps his hand. He's guaranteed 1. So you can't win a game that the dealer is in the last hole of the board unless you peg out. You can't win that game unless you peg out, because you're not going to get the count. Now, maybe you have some ability to fluster the dealer and get him to drop a couple cards on the floor under the table or something as he's shuffling them around. It's never happened for me, but I have heard of it happening. And in that case, the dealer won't get that peg, and you could possibly count your hand. So if you're able to cause folks to react that way, it might be a good psychology to deploy in your games, especially end of game. Probably wouldn't make that much difference on First Street whether it happened or not. Reserve it for 4th Street in the final 3-4 holes of the game. Okay. Interesting thing. If you're the dealer and a mid card is led, and we're talking about an end-of-game situation here, say where both players are about 4 points from winning. If a mid card is led, it's safer to pair the mid card than it is to take 15. I'm talking about a 7 or an 8 lead. Do you see why it would be safer to pair it? Yeah, if you take the 15, it's open on either end. So in end-of-game situations, as the dealer, it's safer to pair than it is to put cards of sequence, even if you're taking a 15 for 2. Better to take the pair. I already mentioned holding the large pair to the end of play. Remember those 11 from heavens? They benefit the dealer very heavily. Remember 5, 6, 4, 7, 3, 8, 2, 9. If there's any 10-point cards in play, you've got an excellent chance to close the count at 31 with those cards that total 11. 4, 5, 6, 7 is very strong. If you want pegs, you can play on middle cards, or you can take some pegs on a 10-point lead, or you can play the 4 next to a 3. So you have some latitude with that kind of a hand to play it in all kinds of ways. Give yourself the best shot possible. And always in the game, and particularly in end-of-game pegging, keep 2 cards that will score. If you've got a 7-8, try to hold them to get 15-3 on the end of the play. If you've got a pair, same thing. If you don't have a pair and you don't have a 15, then hold 2 cards together or 2 cards with a space between them. Like you might hold a 1-3 hoping to pick up a deuce. Or you might hold a 4-6 to pick up a 5.